Rejection isn't your enemy. This is kind of like a video diary kind of thing that I'm gonna do. Yeah, I like to talk. I like to talk about life. I love to scream into the void, but I would like it if the void was actually something that listens. Which is why I'm uploading these to YouTube. Okay, so the topic for today is rejection is not your enemy. So I've experienced so many rejections, especially in the career that I'm in at the moment. I'm an actor, training actor, and the amount of rejections that we are like warned about even is insane. Like 98% of responses that we get from like auditions or drama schools or etc etc, 98% of that is rejections. So we've had classes on how to deal with rejection, which I think is insane. Obviously it's good and like benefited a lot from it, but just the fact that we needed that, it's kind of scary because so far I've had my fair share of rejections, but nothing compared to what professionals in the industry have had to face. So I'm kind of scared for that. But I guess what I'm going to be talking about today is pretty much like maybe not how to handle rejection. I think I'm still figuring that out, but kind of just addressing that it happens and that there are perspectives that you can look at it from that make it hurt less. So the first thing that we were taught in these classes that we had about rejection was that rejection is redirection. And I guess it's kind of as simple as that, really. It's not like something that blocks your path. It's not something that just stops you from doing everything. It redirects you to a different part of life. And I guess as an actor, I have to look at it from that kind of point of view where, like, when you make an offer in the space as an actor, if like the director or whoever it is that's sort of working on, like, say a monologue or a scene, and you do something that they aren't the biggest fan of, they're not going to just say, actually, no, get off my set. They're going to redirect you. They're going to look at what you've given them, look at so outside of the metaphor, look at the life that you have, and they're going to redirect you, just as fate will sort of redirect your life the way that the route that it's supposed to go down. I believe that we do as we are supposed to. We live as we are supposed to. Not always what is right, but what we are divinely supposed to, what was planned for us. Another thing, if you're living in the moment, if you're really present in your reality at this time, like for me, my reality is I'm sat in my room. I tidied my room the other day, and I put some stuff on the wall. I've got some pictures, me and my friends. I put one of my paintings on the wall, and I moved my desk into a different part of my room, and I really love my room at the moment. And I've got friends downstairs. I'm living in a town that I love. I have good relationships with my family. I'm loving what I'm doing at uni. I'm enjoying the stuff that I'm doing. I'm watching XYZ show. I listen to XYZ music. I am working on XYZ projects. Just as a little like summary of my life in this sort of moment. And as I'm looking at the camera now, I can see the sunset through my window, which I love. If I'm living completely in this moment, if I got a message now saying, oh, next year you're going to have to go home because there's no room for you to continue your studies here or here, I don't think I would be as hurt as if I had invested so much time in the future. Not invested so much time, if I invested so much of my mind into the future, or if I spent so much time looking back, if I was so in my head about the past, always regretting things, then I'd just be like, that'd just be one more thing to add to the list. And if I was looking so much in the future, I would have been like, well, what have I been doing the past year? What have I been doing all my life up until now? But if I'm really present in the moment and I really am enjoying well, not enjoying, if I'm savoring every moment that I have here in this town, or here in this room, or here in this body, I really I don't think that it would bother me that much. I would be upset, but it wouldn't feel like the end of the world, because the world wouldn't be ending. It would be, as I said before, just a redirection, just a change in the way things are going to be. I drew a picture of something to help me the other day, and I'm not going to get the picture and draw it out here, but it was basically like, imagine you've got sort of goggles. It looks kind of silly, but imagine you have like goggles here, and this is what you see, and everything inside of this is your life now. And you got rejected from, so I'll go with the hypothetical situation that I said before. So if I was rejected from staying where I am at this moment to continue my studies, I wouldn't be losing any space of this scope. It wouldn't be like, oh yeah, I got rejected, I've got nothing now. It would literally just be a change of perspective. I would be looking elsewhere to fill the scope in my mind. It doesn't make your life any smaller to get redirected to a different part of the route that you're supposed to take in life. It doesn't make you any smaller. It just changes what fills up your scope of perception, really. And I think that happens, and that's with change as well. Like, you're not losing anything. You're not losing any part of yourself. So another thing is, and I think this applies to like personal life and like friendships, relationships, those kind of rejections, as well as like career rejections or whatever. I think they're necessary. They build a assurance and a strength that you wouldn't have if you had never been rejected and never been disadvantaged. Yeah, it's sort of like, so dodos, they were like a bird that existed like decades ago, and they lived like, I can't remember where they lived. I think on like an island or something, and so they lived in this like place where no one had ever been before. So, and they had no natural predators, and so they had never faced like hardship in terms of like being hunted and having to like gain survival instincts. And then when like humans came on the island and started hunting dodos, the dodos didn't know how to flee, how to avoid. They literally, you would run at them, and because they'd never learned that things running at them was dangerous, they would just sit there and be killed because they hadn't built up that strength and the instinct and the life experience. And I think if you went through your life with no rejections, no hardships, no disadvantages, nothing to help you get used to the difficulties of the reality of life, and then one day you were like thrust into the world with someone charging at you, with fate charging at you, with a rejection or a breakup or a divorce or being fired or just anything, just literally anything that is difficult or that isn't what you want, you would be really upset and you wouldn't know how to handle it. But especially in one's adolescence, you you do build up that sort of resistance to it, and you learn how to deal with rejection. You learn how to handle it all. I think that's what I'm in the process of doing at the moment, learning how to deal with it. I know how to look at it. That's how I'm looking at it now, but I need to put that into practice in how I look at it on the inside. And I think in like 20 years, if I was to be faced with the kind of stuff that I face now, it'll be nothing, which is interesting, exciting. But yeah. Anyway, so another thing is that you learn what you don't like and what you do like, and like what works for you and what doesn't work, kind of thing in life. Like in the process of your life, you endure so much, you go through so much, and so many different like opportunities that you might take up, you are rejected from, because that's to put you on the right path. But also, you might be like halfway there to an opportunity, and you get so excited about the fact of it being an opportunity that you don't look at it and look at how you would handle it, how you would enjoy it. And then you get rejected, and then you look at it and you're like, wait, I didn't want that. Like this year and last year, I was applying to drama schools, and I applied to Royal Central, and both years I got a recall for the musical theatre course at Royal Central. Both years I did it, but both years I was like, I really don't know. But I was blinded. I would go for it, and I was like, I'm probably going to take it, even though I'm not going to enjoy it, because Royal Central is a big school and whatever. I was so like confident I was going to take it if I did get it. But I'm so glad that I got rejected, because I would have taken it and I would have hated it, and I probably would have dropped out, because I'm not a musical theatre person. I don't like music. I like singing, but I don't like musical theatre. And I'm so glad that I can look back now and see it as something that I avoided and sort of bullet dodged. And I've learnt from that rejection that before going for an opportunity and saying yes to things, I need to look at if I would really, really enjoy them, or if I just like the thought of it. The ever omnipresent phrase, what is meant for you will not pass you by. So, relating back to the drama schools thing, I'm just going to be really transparent with my drama school stuff, because why not? With being rejected from Royal Central at the time, I was like, oh my God, that's like, oh, that's sad, whatever. I didn't say it like that, but I was upset by it. And I was like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do now. Like, it kind of felt like the end of the world. And then I got accepted into somewhere else that I realized that I wanted that one more than I wanted Royal Central, even though when I was faced with the opportunity of Royal Central, and the opportunity of this place, this sort of steadier place, I think I got so engrossed in the unknown and the huge, like, looming reputation that Royal Central has. I was so like, oh, I think I would take Royal Central over this one. And then now that I've come out of it, before I knew the outcome of this one, but after I knew the outcome of Royal Central, I was like, oh my God, I'm so glad that I didn't get through to Royal Central, because I realize now that it's actually, I would be miserable at. I would be so miserable. And then I got accepted into this place, and it feels right. It felt right immediately. I mean, when I was doing the audition, it felt right. And it just made me realize like what is meant for me, like what I see my future to be, kind of won't pass me by. And it's not always necessarily what I see my future to be. I think that was one of the cases that it was, but what my future is going to be, it is going to be. We live how we will plan to, which is dictated by who we are. Who we are dictates how we live, and vice versa. And I think going through life is just a constant cycle of one of those things affecting the other until the next step. But if you start with one of those, it sort of plans out everything. So I think life is kind of planned out, which makes rejection not feel so bad, because it doesn't feel like it's an end, because it's just one step of the way. Another way that you can look at it is kind of like a maze kind of thing. So your life is like this maze, and each time that you have to take a turn to get to the middle, every time that you have to turn around or do a detour, that is a rejection. Not even a detour. Literally, when you are facing the wall and you have to decide where to turn, that's a rejection. That is like a rejection in life, because it's just something that says you can't go further down this line any longer. Choose a different way. Choose a different direction until the next rejection, and then choose a different way. Choose a different way, or left or right, or wherever it takes you, and you just keep following the path that way, and that's what gets you to the middle. If you were to just go straight forward the whole time, you'd just be in bushes. It's just not doable. So a rejection really, truly, I know it sounds so cringe because it's written everywhere, but one thing that I found is that like things that are like everywhere, like you are worthy, or like things like that, that like you read and you're like, oh my god, that's some like thing you like is that's just everywhere. Once you go through things and you think about the best ways to help yourself and the best things that you can say to yourself, if you were to simplify it all down, it actually does come to those phrases, those cringe phrases like what's meant for you will not pass you by, rejection is redirection, you are worthy, you are enough, or whatever. Like those phrases genuinely are the most helpful things that you can realize, but it has to come from you. You can't just read it from like a poster and be like, yeah, oh my god, I am enough, I am worthy. It has to, it really does have to come from your lived experience. And the only way that you're going to get that lived experience and that hardship is through rejection. One thing, one thing that I would say to sort of help, that has really helped me in the past few months or whatever, is to get out of the bubble that you are in, that makes that rejection feel like everything. Like I know that sometimes like living in the moment, you might be completely surrounded by the world that you're in that makes that rejection feel like everything. Like where I am at the moment with like auditions and drama schools and stuff, it feels like everything because it's on the forefront of everyone's mind, because on the campus, like we are at the place of work that is like the face to match the name of the future that we want to be doing. So obviously it's on the forefront of our minds, and it feels like everything, and these people that I'm surrounded by are people who I've met in this world that I am in that is rejecting me and blah 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 blah. The minute that I went home to my family, in March, I think, I was like, wait, life is so much more than this thing that I want. Life is so much more than this thing that I want. I don't think I can put it in many other ways. There are so many other things. I thought about this the other day. Think about every invention that has had to have happened to get a camera. Like for a camera, you need that film and you need the little cogs and stuff. Imagine how many things it's taken to make those things, to make the things that 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 make the things. Like the amount of time that the world has, that humankind has gone through, the earth, that the universe has gone through, the amount of people and experiences that the world has seen. And even just in this moment, like halfway across the world, people are given, literally in the same city, probably, people are giving birth. It's insane. There is such a massive world. Why do I care so much about this one thing that I wanted? Like, it really isn't everything. It really, really isn't. want isn't the biggest thing that someone can feel, and it's not the best feeling that you can get to get that want, because it's always going to be a case of want. So having that want redirected to something else where you might even just get contentment there and then, I wouldn't complain too much about that. Yeah, just being at home with my family, it just made me realize that there is an entire world outside of that bubble that I have been living in. And the minute I step out of the bubble, even whether that be by choice or not, the minute I step out of it, I won't feel the heartache that I do when I'm in it and facing the hardships that you face in this career. There's people like working at the restaurant that I worked at when I was 16, and they're doing what I was doing. There's people my age working at that restaurant, and they've got a full life, they feel fulfilled, and they wanted to do other things, but they're not doing those other things now. They're there and they're enjoying it and they're fine. And if that is what the future has in store for me, I will be fine. I don't need to worry. As I said again, the scope will not change. It will just be somewhere else, which is kind of exciting. Anyway, there is a world out there. In a season, I fell, holding my hand, and I thought, oh, right, yes, yes, onward, otherwise, not a bad deal given the, oh, right, yes. And so, as a season, I sprang. So that's, we parted ways from my poetry book that I'm currently in the process of writing. I have a title. The title of the next poetry book will be "If This Is How It's Going to Be." Yeah, I think that's kind of relevant as well. If this is how it's going to be, yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching. Yeah, rejection isn't your enemy.